Just behind Eastern Illinois University's Greek Court, there stands two towers that were once filled with life. This is Carman Hall, and it's been sitting empty without any students for nearly a decade.
I lived in Carman Hall my freshman year at Eastern from, I believe it was the fall of 2000 to the spring of 2001. So I think I left in May of 2001.
According to Eastern Illinois University's website, Carman Hall, although officially completed on November 14, 1971, opened its doors on September 4, 1970. The 10-story North Tower housed 397 women, while the top floor was under construction. In the fall of 1971, Carman Hall became one of the first co-ed buildings on Eastern's campus when the 9-story South Tower opened for male occupants. The addition of the South Tower made Carman the largest residence hall complex on campus. And this is Ruth Carman, the first former EIU student to have a building dedicated in her honor.
We had just gotten internet access in the rooms that year, and we all had landlines. Nobody had a cell phone. So basically it was all people just kind of came in and out of rooms and, came in to see how's it going, you want to hang out, that kind of thing. And people would go to each other's rooms and watch movies and stuff like that. Everybody was a freshman, so nobody was 21, of course. And people would go to house parties and stuff. But if you weren't really into that, then a lot of times people would kind of sit on the stairs in front of the building and talk and smoke and just kind of, gossip and watch the drunks roll in.
But what led to the closure of this building?
Well, it was closed down in 2013. It was during a period of time when the enrollment was less than needed it for demand. So we opted to close it down in order to fit the main people on the core of campus, so we could focus our resources on renovations and things in that area in order to save operating money as well as future investment opportunities. Right. This Carman was built and occupied in 1970. Greek Court was being built in the late 80s and early 90s. So almost 20 years before Greek Court was in existence, Carman was here. In these environments, a lot of piping, like a lot of heat pipes have asbestos insulation around them, and it's encapsulated. So it's not airborne, so it's not a problem. It's just encapsulated. And some of the floor tile is the same, but again, it's what's called friable, which is airborne, so it's not a health hazard in any way. But before you take a building like this down, you have to abate all the asbestos so you don't put it in landfills and things like that. Well, first of all, you still have to run ventilation systems so you keep air moving. And, we don't have mold growth and things like that. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that, oh my gosh, there's mold everywhere, you can't go in there. Well, obviously that's not the case. And that's because in the winter, we warm it to enough degrees so it stays inhabitable. And then in the summer, the outside, you cool it just enough to keep the humidity down so you don't have mold issues and like that. So it looks, it's obviously dirty because we don't clean it, but it's still a building that's not any kind of a biohazard. It hasn't been in use for 10 years. So, any building that sits idle for that amount of time is going to not be super inhabitable, based on issues like water pipes. And, when a pipe sits not in use for a long time, traps for drains, all the rest dry out. So it's not that it's a hazard. It's just that, for example, several years ago, we cut off all the water to the building to the upper floor so they wouldn't spring leaks. So if you were trying to re-energize that with water, you'd have lots of leaks and lots of issues. So, it's just right now, and I think in a condition where it's ready to move on to its next life.
What does the future have in store for Carman Hall?
Housing and dining operation is a large operation with lots of furniture and beds and all kinds of things. And we are constantly trying to upgrade for our students. So we use this space to rotate things out when they sort of get past service levels. Some things can be recovered and put back into service. Some things are donated to nonprofits throughout the state. And this is sort of a staging ground for all of that. Well, we have met with many people over the years, and many suggestions have been given about what we should do with it. The most important thing to know that it's actually a state asset, so it's not something that we can just give away or sell. You have to work within state parameters. So one of the things that is currently being discussed, and I hope it'll be successful, is we're working with the Illinois Fire Institute out of the University of Illinois, and they run a national, worldwide training program where people come in and learn how to deal with all kinds of fire situations, and talk to the Fire Institute about actually having this become a training facility for them. As they told us, it is very uniquely placed because there's a lot of space around it. So it'd be great for high-rise training, evacuation training, all kinds of different things. So we're currently in negotiations with them.
Although Carman Hall has been sitting empty for many years now, it looks like the building may finally be able to move on to its next life.